But yeah, let's transition over to Marcus Semien, right? And so looking at him, that was a guy I wanted the Yankees to go after, and it seemed like the one big thing that deterred them from doing that was the years that Texas gave him. Texas gives him the 7 years, but you look at the way he's played. Basically, the last 3 years, last year he sets the home run record as a second baseman after switching positions, right? And he's probably gonna play second base again now that now that Corey Seager's there. And as a Yankee fan, I'm a little confused as to why. I would have given him the 7 years personally, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm age 30, age 31. I understand why that would scare you a little bit, but again, he 45 home runs this year. He broke Brian Dozier's home run record by a second baseman. So obviously, you could see the improvement after you move into second base. I think you should have gave him the contract. The fact of the matter is, the Yankees just have to make him. Please make him. Can you just please?
And we are going to get to that. The one. I've heard people say, only 2 good years, and he struggles big in 2020.
He did.
But that's sandwiched in between a 2019 where he plays 162 games, finishes with an OPS of 892, and a third place MVP finish, and then this year another third place MVP finish. Plays 162 games, and I think an 873 OPS finish. So 2 really good seasons.
Won a Golden Glove.
Wins a Golden Glove this year as well, and a Silver Slugger this year. And the stats before the 2019, not insane. 2019 was really his breakout year where people started taking notice as, hey, this guy's really got some talent, more than just a slightly above average baseball player. And now he gets his money. And again, just a guy that I kind of hoped is like a cheaper option if the Yankees didn't want to pay big for Correa or Seager. You could fall back on Semien. Instead, the Rangers land both of them.
He's durable. I think he only missed how many? He only missed 10 games, I think, in the last couple of years. He's really good. And I know he played behind Vlad Guerrero Jr. throughout the season, but he finished second in AL WAR behind Shohei Ohtani. He's great. I don't know why.
I mean, you mentioned the games played since so 2018 159, doesn't miss a game in 2019, misses 7 in 2020, and doesn't miss a game here. So missed 8 games really. Or no, I'm bad at math. You're right. It's like 10 games. It's 10 games the last 4 years, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Jesus
Christ. A third place MVP finish is pretty ridiculous when you consider it's behind Shohei Ohtani, who just had one of the greatest seasons of all time, and Vlad Guerrero, who had a historically great season as well. So, listen, Marcus Semien is a really talented ball player. And so, the question is, I think you throw this into this AL West bigger picture thing, and this is where, your prediction kind of comes into play about having them to win the AL West is, I think you have to start wondering, is it enough for Texas to really win this division? Because the pieces around them
is pretty weak. I got excited a little bit. The AL West is stacked. It's stacked.
I mean, we haven't even talked about Seattle, right? Seattle goes out, they get Robbie Ray. Just won a Cy Young. They trade for Adam Frazier.
Robbie Ray, I have to see more of that. I understand. I don't know how I feel about Robbie Ray. I don't have the most confidence in Robbie Ray. I have to see more of that. I understand he's the reigning Cy Young winner, but I don't really trust it. I have to see more of it. What is it? 2 good seasons, I think.
It's really 2 good seasons where he has top Cy Young finishes, and the rest. I mean, he had a 2020 that was awful finishes with a 6 ERA. So there's a lot of bad to mediocre outside of those 2 really good years, and I think that's what it comes down to is. Whoever was signing Robbie Ray, you're taking a flyer on, hey, I expect him to be the guy that he was in Toronto. And I mean, he was absolutely awesome.
You got to hold your breath on that one.
I mean, and he gets his strikeouts. He's a fly ball pitcher, but I mean, he was dominant this year. The question really just becomes, do you expect him to continue that dominance?
Do you see it again? I say no. Robbie Ray, that doesn't impress me at all. Really.
There legitimately isn't a notable season from him outside of 2017 and 2021.
Yep.
And 2017 is solid, but I mean 2017 his numbers end up being kind of similar to 2021. His 2021 numbers are a little bit better, and outside of that, he's like a high 3s, low 4s ERA pitcher. and that's when you didn't have a 6 ERA. So the Robbie Ray deal, I do think it's interesting because, I mean, listen, he gets his money, and it is, if he is the pitcher that he was in Toronto, you start looking at Seattle, and Seattle really becomes the interesting.
Yeah, Seattle's interesting.
Talking Yanks guys were talking about them kind of as the next Toronto. And you saw how scary Toronto was in a stacked AL East. And I'm starting to see connections between the AL East and now what the AL West is going to be this year, where you have the Angels go out and get Syndergaard, and what's been their main issue? Their main issue's been pitching. And you get Syndergaard if he's healthy to pair with Ohtani. If Trout's healthy, if you can get any type of production out of Anthony Rendon, who was an MVP candidate with Washington, that's a scary Angels team. Now they were the team that I picked to win the division this year. It obviously didn't work out. And then you have the Astros, who aren't going away. Who knows if they re-sign Correa? They re-sign Justin Verlander. And that's a big thing for me because you look at that. The rotation was really the thing that held the Astros back. The staple of their franchise has kind of been pitching. And this postseason, that pitching struggled. Their starting pitcher's ERA was horrific in the postseason. And it's a weird spot for the Astros to be in, where they can't rely on starting pitching. That I think to get Verlander back, if he's healthy, they say he looks good. You have 4 teams here that could legitimately win this division.
That's a race right now. If you ask me, I would probably have to tell you. Yeah, I expect the Astros.
Right, it's tough. So it's tough to pick against the Astros.
It's tough to pick.
How do you go against them?
I don't know. Altuve's still there, and they're gonna Verlander and Correa is going back. Will the Yankees just give up on that? It's tough. Oh.
I mean, especially if Correa goes back. I think even if he doesn't, I'm not too concerned about their offense because you have Yordan Alvarez, who's only getting better. Kyle Tucker coming off a great year. I think he's only going to get better. So, Alex Bregman, if he can stay healthy, you pair him alongside Altuve kind of as the 2 veterans in that line that have been there, done that. And you just have... The Astros just don't go away.
They don't go away.
I thought they were going to fizzle out after the cheating scandal, and obviously not. They come back firing, and it only made them better, it seems. Their rotation will not be as good as that one year where they had Verlander and Cole, and it felt like every arm they had was an absolute stud.
Was an absolute ace.
It's tough to bet against the Astros. I think the team I'm going to cite right now is the Mariners. I think they're the really fun pick. They were the team that I think down the stretch people were rooting for to make the wild card if you weren't like a Blue Jays or Yankee fan. I think even in the Yankee fans, in the back of the minds, it would be cool if the Mariners won. I don't think anyone actually hates the Mariners. Longest, was it now 21 years since they haven't been in the playoffs, and
it's been a drought. Yup.
It was a really cool story because I think you look at their roster up and down, and it's not the guys that, not a lot of names that pop out that you go, oh man, that guy's a stud, but they really...
But it's solid.
It's a solid team all around that they made it work, and I think you get Adam Frazier on that team, and he had his struggles in San Diego, and it was a crowded place for him to be. I think maybe his struggles kind of went under the radar because San Diego in the second half just struggled overall, and was just a complete mess. But I mean, the numbers he was putting up in Pittsburgh were pretty damn good. That's why everyone wanted him coming out of Pittsburgh. So you get Pittsburgh Pirates Adam Frazier, you stick him in your middle infield, that's pretty good. And then Robbie Ray at the front of your rotation, in front of what's already a pretty decent starting rotation as is. I think the Mariners are a fun storyline to work.
Probably over the Angels.
See, I'm looking for the Mariners as a fun storyline. If I had to pick the division winner, I think I go Angels.
I go Astros still. I go Astros still. And if I had to pick a second team, you point a gun to my head, I'm probably going Angels over the Mariners.
I mean, listen, you put a gun to my head, I'm probably saying Astros just because I can't. If my life's on the line, I can't rely on the Angels to beat them.
Angels, yeah.
Because if my life's on the line, the Angels are going to finish in 5th place, and Trout and Ohtani are going to get hurt, and Rendon's going to have like a 500 OPS.
500, he's not going to play.
But one of these years, the Angels are going to break out. Okay. When it does, it's going to be awesome. I think it could be this year. If Syndergaard's healthy, you really have an interesting case where Ohtani's pitching well. You have a top 2 that's not... not top 10 in the league or anything like that.
But
Not a single
solid,
top 10 pitcher, but
solid.
a very good start to the top of your rotation that I think could get rounded out with if you make the right moves.
Round out the rest of that rotation.
And I'm just you're just waiting for that offense to click because is it crazy to say they have the two best players in baseball, Trout and Ohtani?
Trout and Ohtani.
Trout's been the best player in baseball since his rookie year, and Ohtani had
a two-way monster.
The best season that you've seen in a while, maybe since Barry Bonds, in terms of just more and what he was doing, pitching and hitting. Two guys that are at the front of baseball in terms of popularity, I think, and two guys that you could easily say are the two best players in baseball, and then a supporting cast. Rendon, if Rendon's right, if you get
great production from Rendon,
close to Washington Nationals, Anthony Rendon, this is a scary.
Yeah, I think you run away with the division with that. Yup.
But we'll have to see how this all plays out. The AL West definitely going to be a fun storyline.